Morning, everybody. We're still waiting I'm still seeing people still joining in, so we're just going to wait another minute and then just so more people can join. Hope you guys all have your cup of coffee ready, comfy chair. Right, I think we're almost ready to get started. Yeah, I'm seeing that there are a couple of people stuck on admitting in the lobby.
Hi, Andrew. Yeah, I think we can give it a minute and maybe the system just has to have a minute to let them.
Teams hasn't had its coffee this morning. Right. Almost 4 minutes past, so I think let's get cracking. I do see that there are 3 people stuck in as admitting. Hopefully they'll just disconnect and reconnect in shortly. Fantastic. All right, let me just minimize my team screen on this side. Need to move that to the other side. Right, fantastic. Claire, if you can just manage the admission into the lobby, and let's get cracking. Right, everybody. I assume everybody can see me, everybody can hear me. So what we've got, I'd just like to thank you guys all for spending a bit of time with me this morning. We will be talking a little bit about Power Platform, but before we go and start in that, my name is Andrew. I am a specialist M365 consultant for Mint. In next month, I've been with Mint for 10 years, so I'm definitely part of the furniture. I have recently immigrated to the UK, and I'm now working for the Mint UK office. So without further ado, let's jump in. A quick little sentence that what we can summarize what we as Mint are trying to achieve and what we are achieving is to create tomorrow by inspiring our employees, clients, partners, and community to reach their potential through innovative technology solutions. So, and Power Apps, not Power Apps, Power Platform is definitely one such method that we are able to go and help you along your journey. Here we have a brief agenda of what we will be covering today. A brief overview of what Power Platform is, and we'll be bouncing around from Power BI, Automate, virtual agents, which are your chatbots, Power Pages, and also Power Apps. Right, so making Power Platform work for you. So one of the things that we've seen fairly often is that there are a number of companies out there that they already have components and parts of the Power Platform available to their users because it's forms part and parcel of the standard licensing. So whether they are using at the enterprise agreement or they have some sort of volume license agreement with Microsoft, whatever the case may be, is that a lot of the users already have the ability and they are licensed to make use of Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, Flow, and the like. So we would like to be able to go and help you make use of licenses and resources that you already own, that you already are currently paying for. And then we can use those to your advantage. But first of all, let's do a quick bird's eye view of the working areas of Power Platform. So first of all, we have Power BI. This is our data visualization and analytics tool. Essentially, this is reports, way to surface up data to the relevant users. Followed by that, we have our Power Automate. And Power Automate is a workflow automation tool. It's workflow. It basically will join our front-end systems, whatever they may be, and join them up with our back-end data sources, also, yet again, whatever they may be. Followed with that, we have our Power Virtual Agents. Essentially, if we had to put it in its simplest form, it's a chatbot. And we're able to go and build some fairly impressive chatbots without any code. After that, we'll talk briefly around Power Pages. And essentially, this is what we are able to go and create external facing websites very, very easily without code. But yet again, also there are some very, very neat, heavy developer focused functionality built in there. Finally, we have Power Apps, which is by far my favorite, is a low-code or no-code app development platform. Obviously, as it is, we did say it is low-code or no-code, but you also can go fairly heavy on the code side, depending on what you would like to go and do. Let's just jump into Power BI. First of all, let's just quickly do a rundown of what Power BI is. Essentially, if we had to put it down in its simplest form, it is a user-friendly tool that turns data into visual stories, making it considerably simpler to see trends, insights, and also it displays those in very easy to read charts, bar graphs, or any sort of graphs without necessarily being a data expert. Because some people, myself included, crunching numbers and extrapolating data, it hurts the mind, irrespective of how much coffee I've had. One of the things that is incredibly important in any organization, apart from the people that make up the organization, is your data. There is a mountain of data that every organization, no matter how big or small you are, there's always a vast amount of data that is highly important. It is all your IP. Could be sales data. It could be revenue data. It could be anything like that. There is a mountain of data. But now the question is, what good is that data if you cannot see it? What good is that data if you need to make a decision about let's just say there's some sort of risk that you need to go and take. And if you don't have that, the data to say, yes, we've actually got the collateral to support us taking that risk, you can't make it at that time. And that opportunity could very well be lost. So there's a wealth of data at your disposal. We just need to surface it to the matter experts. We are able to visualize and explore data from various sources to create interactive reports, dashboards, and share insights with our teams and stakeholders. It is worth mentioning that everything on the Power Platform, and Power BI is no exception, is that there is a multitude of data connections. We're able to connect in and read from hundreds of external systems. And one of the slides further down in the slide deck, we'll actually be briefly touching on some of those connections and also just the sheer volume of those. Also, what is very useful from having Power BI is with the fact that we are capturing a lot of real-time data. It could be from Power Apps, it could be from your PVA, your bots, Power Automate Flow, or whatever front-end system or third-party system that you use. We will be able to help your teams take the right actions at the right time when we're able to surface that data on the fly. What I have over here is a fairly basic sample report that we're able to get out of Power BI. As you can see, we've got heat map, we've got a geographical tile, and we've got a number of other items that we're able to drill into. And one of the nice things with Power BI is that you're able to click on a specific item, and then the rest of the report will automatically drill down into that information. And you're able to go and see from quite a high level to actually work your way down into a far lower level of data if you so require. As mentioned, well, I alluded to a short while ago, is that we're able to connect to any sort of external systems and the like. So this is a sample report that you'll be able to pull out of Jira. And as you can see, it's quite a detailed report to be able to get access to all of the data out of external systems. Before we jump off Power BI, I want to just also jump onto the AI bandwagon. So we have a Copilot at our disposal. But before we go and show what you're able to go and do with Copilot in Power Apps, let's just quickly talk a little bit about what actually is Copilot. Right. Copilot is an AI-powered coding assistant that is developed by OpenAI and supported by Microsoft. Specifically with the Power Platform environment is that it is able to offer us context-aware coding suggestions and writing support to enhance developer productivity. It is worth mentioning that it is there to assist us. It is there to help nudge us in the right direction. If you think of it, whenever you've had a bit of a mind-bending problem and you would go and chat to one of your seniors, a mentor or any of the like, and you'd explain out the issue, and then they would be able to point you in the right direction. Kind of think of Copilot as assisting in that manner as well. Since we know what Copilot is in a relatively short nutshell, let's also just quickly go and say what it isn't. Copilot isn't here to take our jobs. It is not here to write our code and entire projects. There's definitely a limit to what it is able to do. To poke a little bit of light, a little bit of humor into the situation, this is a joke I stumbled across many years back, and then when I was preparing the slide deck, I was like, oh, that's pretty clever. Let me see if I can find it. Thankfully, I was able to fish it up. To replace programmers with robots, in this particular case, it'll be AI. Clients would have to accurately describe what they want. So we're pretty safe. So to jump back to what Copilot is able to do within Power BI. As you can see in this image here, we connected into the Power BI Development Studio, and we have connected to our data, as you can see on the far left-hand side. When we go and open up the Copilot tab, you go and get the Copilot pane on the far right-hand side. And what we've got there is that it's going to go and ask us, it's going to prompt us, like, what do you want to go and do? If you had to think of, for those who are old enough and you remember Microsoft Clippy, the little paper clip they would poke on your screen and ask, what do you want to do today? So this is the great-grandchild of Clippy. One of the things I've just forgotten to mention from the previous slide is a lot of the Copilot functionality isn't necessarily available to all regions, depending on your region, also depending on your I forget the name eludes me now. You've got the release ring. Think of it like an onion. The further outside of the ring, that is the more stable production ready tenants, and they would get those updates and all the cool features last. The further inside the ring, when you get into like the developer rings, the pre-release rings, we get to play with the new kits quite a lot sooner than the rest of the population. But with that said, most of the Copilot stuff is generally available, and your mileage may vary. Right, sorry, let's jump back onto this slide. So what in this particular scenario, on our slide over here, we go and ask it to go and create a page to analyze internet sales data. Copilot will go and think about life for a little bit and come up with the answer of 42, and then it will go and display us quite a nice, rich report, as you can see in the image on screen. From here, we also still have the Copilot pane on the right-hand side, and we're able to go and interact with Copilot a little bit more. Maybe we want to go and change the axis of one of our charts, or maybe we want to go and change the wording or the text. You're able to go in natural language, type it in there, and then Copilot will assist you on that way. It also is able to assist us on maybe we need to go and edit a DAX query to get some data out in a very specific way. Copilot would be able to nudge us along to to help us with that. The next item that we are going to be chatting about is Power Automate. Now, Power Automate is our workflow tool that helps us automate repetitive task processes in everyday apps, such as sending emails, updating a spreadsheet, picking up a file, moving it from one place to another. Power Automate also acts as a middleware layer, joining our front-end systems into our back-end systems. As an example, we could be pulling information, we're using Power Apps as our front end, and we need to be able to connect into a SQL on-premise server or whatever data source that we need to get access to. We would call a Power Automate flow, issue the command, and then Power Automate will go and carry that out and return the data back. And it is worth mentioning that it is lightning fast as well. There's many different connectors, as I've alluded to before. We can connect into any sort of data sources, even web service endpoints that we're able to go and create for third-party websites as well. Power Automate is essentially to reduce manual work, to increase efficiency, and also to ensure greater compliance, because the process is automated. And since the process is automated, there is less likely for input errors. What's that? We call it butterfingers or something. You accidentally hit a 9 instead of a 6. Suddenly your financial data is incorrect. So it definitely helps from a compliance side. It saves us time, effort, and so your teams are able to go and focus their energy far more strategically. One of the other nice things that we're able to go and do with Power Automate is RPA, which is robotic process automation. What's really nice about this is that we're able to use it to mimic the back office tasks of human workers, such as extracting data, filling in forms, or moving files around, just to mention a few. This actually is done in a kind of like a screen recorder fashion, where you're able to go and follow the mouse movements and clicks of a user. So they go and open up a share folder, and in the share folder there may be data logging files from the machinery on your engineering level, and you'll be able to, they would go copy that data, drop it into a different location, open up the file, copy out the data, drop it into Excel or SQL. Please don't use Excel as the database, guys. Free advice for the day. And we're able to go and do that. And that task is repetitive. It's done every single day, multiple times a day. And by us automating that, we have freed up that particular person to do other things. To show how we are able to go and create our Power Automate flows, there are a number of different ways around that. We're able to create from a blank template, pretty much start up from an empty screen. We're also able to go and create it from a specific connector. Let's say I want to go and do something from Teams. I connect to Teams, and from Teams, I can go post messages, read messages, do something when a specific message is sent on a specific channel. Whatever the world's requirement is, you're able to go and do that. We also have a template, start from a template. So this template library has a multitude. It's probably got hundreds upon hundreds of templates that are out there that you're able to go and use. You can see there are a couple here: save message to OneNote, schedule a reply, notify a team when a planner task is done. There are a number of different pre-existing flows that are available. And then you're able to click it, open it, and it actually goes and creates a fully functional flow for you. And you obviously need to fill in maybe a couple of different connections, but otherwise you'll be able to go look in, see how it works. And one of the things that I always recommend to anyone who's starting on the Power Platform, make use of the template gallery as a learning resource. There's a vast amount of content there. You can go and see how things work. Continuing along with the Copilot side is that we are also able to go and tell Power Automate, this is what I want to go and do. So every single month, copy files from one OneDrive folder to another, as an example. You'll be able to go and type in a fairly detailed 1 or 2 sentence requirement, hit the generate button, and then provided it isn't having illusions of grandeur, it will go and generate up a fairly good structure that you'll be able to start from. Once we have our Power Automate open, this is the canvas that we're able to go and edit our flows on. We have our connector blocks and actions in the center, and then when we go and select on one of them, so as you can see, the selected item is the start and wait for an approval. You'll get all the detail on the left, and then on the right-hand side, we have our context-aware Copilot window. And essentially from here, we'd be able to go and ask it to do specific things. In this particular example, update the title of the approval to whatever you would like it to be created to. Moving along to our chatbots, our Power Virtual Agents, or PVA for short, we are able to go and design a natural language chatbot interaction, which is going to interact with AI services, connect with backend systems to answer user questions as they interact with our bot. And this is all done without coding. And that is just mind-bending what you're able to go and do without actually writing code. Bot builders are able to go and build bots making use of a number of different knowledge sources. We can point it to external websites, we can point it to our own document repository, or even SharePoint sites, or any sort of combination of these. Now, what is nice about this is that we are able to use our own data, and that is really, really important. So consequently with that is that the bot builders are able to engage, the bot will engage in conversations with the end user based upon the knowledge that they have taken from those sources. This is obviously run through with the Azure OpenAI service. What is beneficial around this, and it makes generating these bots considerably quicker, is that the bot authors, we're relieved from having to create a branch for each part of our potential way that the conversation may go and take place. As an example, we may have I want to go and find out how many study days do I have, leave days do I have per year. What I would need to go and do if we didn't have the AI side, I'd have to go and create multiple routes to basically say, right, if I'm looking for sick leave, route 1, if I'm looking for study leave, route 2, if I'm looking for whatever other type of family responsibility, to have to go through another route. So we're able to go and point it to our data, and it will go and interact with our users off there. Right, other examples of that, FAQs, the service desk operations, and the like. There's actually a number of things that we really can go and do with our chatbots. As you can see here, this is a screenshot of a sample bot, and essentially it's as simple as dragging and dropping the action features, the triggers and actions onto the Canvas page. And also we're able to call Microsoft Flow, our workflows, to be able to go and pull information out from other systems and then bring them back into the user. And like I said, the running it like that is actually, it's very, very fast. It's almost instantaneous as you go and say, I would like to find out what are your I don't know, let's go think, what are your business hours or something like that. It's able to go and find that information quickly and very, very easily. The users don't even know that it's been requested from an external source. We also have on our left-hand side, over here, we're able to go and interact with the bot, and we actually test it, in real time, and we're also able to go and see on the right-hand side which routes that particular conversational direction took. Also, on the Copilot side, we're able to go and give it a natural language query. I would like to change something. If it is confirmed, just ask them what type of credit card they would like, or whatever the case may be, is we'd be able to go and use Copilot to help us along our way. As with anything, as I mentioned, data is important. We need to be able to go and gather our information that our chatbot has processed, and we're able to go and see how well it has performed, which is quite useful. Right, bouncing along to Power Pages. Power Pages, we're able to create dynamic web pages that can be easily customized. They are able to go and show information in a very flexible and interactive way without the need for any sort of programming skills. However, it also allows developers, like the hardcore developers, to like really get down into like the weeds, like the real low level, connect to it using Visual Studio and really, crack their knuckles into the deepness of it. So it's very, very powerful on that side. By using Power Pages, we're able to make authoring easy for everybody in our organization to design and create engaging websites within minutes. We're also able to, as I mentioned, build without boundaries, because it goes from the very, very non-technical people right down to the deep technical guys. Also, it's incredibly secure, advanced encryption. There's also rich role-based controls, so we're able to control access very, very tightly. Also, one of the other things that it is able to do is also allow for anonymous access. If, for instance, this external site happens to be informational only, we don't need users to log in and maybe register for courses or anything like that. If it's just informational, it will also allow for anonymous. As with the other items in the Power Platform, we're able to start from a template, and these are fully functional templates. You're able to go and view the items that you've got. And also, as I've mentioned before, it's a great learning resource as well. Speaking of learning, yet again, there also is a vast amount of learning content in there. We want to do tutorials, videos. We wanted to see about how to design and build, whatever the case may be. There is a vast majority of information that is available to us. Once we have created our project over here, you can see that the interface is relatively straightforward and basic. You're able to go and drag and drop your controls, add in images, and the like, and it is incredibly easy to go and do that. We're also able to pull out information from Dataverse. As an example, we're able to call flows, and we're able to pull out data to be able to show any number of items that we need to go and display on this particular page. To not be left behind on the Copilot bandwagon, we're also able to go and issue a request to Copilot. And in this particular example, we're able to go and say, I'd like to create an application form for a student loan, as an example. Copilot will go and think about it for a bit, and then it will go and generate up the form with all the relevant data types and whatnot. You'll be able to interact with Copilot further, remove this field, add this field, change the data type, multi-line, whatever the requirement is. We can correct things as necessary. To move on to onto Power Apps. I'm just quickly checking time. No, we're good on time. Right, so Power Apps is predominantly the area where I spend most of my time because I thoroughly enjoy working with Power Apps. Power Apps is a low-code, no-code platform that allows us to build custom applications for web and mobile devices. For any developers that are on the call that have been around for a bit, they will remember back in the day, and it's not that far back, but you would have to go and create different versions of your app for each different mobile device. Whether I wanted to have my app available on iOS and on Android, we'd have to have two separate versions of the app. Power Apps handles this. It's a non-issue. You're able to create one app, one version of that app, and then irrespective of the device, the form factor, whether it's a small itty-bitty phone or a tablet or whatever the case may be, it just handles all of that without you having to worry about anything. We, as I mentioned before, with Power Automate, we're able to use that to pull in data into Power Apps, whether it's coming from Dataverse or any other data source out there. We're able to go and pull our data in. One of the other nice things and the really powerful feature around with Power Apps is that we're able to go and design and create offline apps. Just very quickly, just to explain what the offline functionality is about, is when you don't have internet coverage. We may be out in the rural areas where internet coverage it may exist, but it's really unreliable, or maybe it's literally there's nothing. we will be able to design the app in such a way that, provided the user has done an initial synchronization in data, they would be able to make use of the app, capture information, read information. Granted, it's cached, but they will be able to go and still use it when there is no coverage. With the Power Apps, there's two different types of apps. We have Canvas apps and model-driven apps. So Canvas apps, they are far more flexible. You have pretty much free reign for the look and the feel. You can really make Power Apps look like really, really slick. I've seen a couple of Power Apps that look so sleek and advanced. You don't even realize that it is a Power App, because, as I'm sure those who have seen Power Apps, sometimes they straight off out of the box, they can be a little plain, just to be nice. Right, so as I said, it's ideal for highly customized user interfaces, and it provides a heck of a lot more control. One such example is a product showcase. And worth mentioning, this particular application I took straight out of the template gallery. As you can see here, we've got a very nice looking interface, a number of buttons down the side, overview, features, text specs, compare, and the like. We're able to go and browse in. You can, and obviously it's on your mobile device, so it's touch friendly. As you click on the items, you're able to go and see any sort of information that you wish to go in front and show to the end user. Moving on to the model-driven apps. Model-driven apps it's considerably more rigid. It follows a structured data approach. It's very tightly linked to the data, the underlying data, and it uses pre-built components, for quick app creation, and essentially we just can't control it as nicely and as high detail as we're able to do with our Canvas apps. So let's quickly go and have a look and see what a couple of model-driven apps look like. As you can see, the structure is it's not that it doesn't look good. It is still highly functional, but we're able to go and see this particular scenario is around our employees, and we're able to see contact information. We've got a number of different blocks, so information from our user tables and maybe other information around whatever the timelines haven't reads in your emails, and all sorts of other goodness from there. One of the other nice things is what we have with our model-driven apps is that, as I mentioned, it's highly structured. As you can see, we have a very set process that has to be followed along the way, and you cannot move the process along unless you have completed certain checks. While yes, you can also make something exactly like this with the same type of checks and balances in Canvas apps. It just depends on what we are aiming for. With regards to the creation, we are able to create from a template. We're able to create from blank. We're also able to create from a data source. As I mentioned before, make use of the template gallery as a learning resource. By us creating our app from data, we would be able to point it to a specific table, and it'll go and generate view, edit, add, and the standard create, remove, update, and delete pages, and all that functionality is built in there. One of the other nice things that they have put in relatively recently, I think within the last year, they went and popped in the functionality to create off Figma. Figma is a collaborative web application for interface design. So we're able to go and design up our images. Well, it's not more than just an image. Our graphic designers hit me on the head for saying that. But essentially, it is our vaporware, what our pages will look like, what the buttons are, and imagery and all that. And then Power Apps will be able to go and connect to that Figma design. And depending on how it interprets all that, it'll go and create all the pages for us, which is very cool. Also, from a Copilot perspective, we're able to go and create an app based on a simple instruction that we have given it. To continue on with the learning perspective, is that there's a lot of data out there, there's a lot of resources. And from here, we're able to go and choose a number of different learning resources. We've also got different experience levels. If you're a beginner, you can look at far simpler items and then work your way up. A couple of examples of some Power Apps that we as Mint have built is we've got a desk booking app. This particular app is quite useful for officers who have limited seating and hot seats. You're able to go in, view which seats are available. You're able to book them for half day, full day, or whatever the case may be. And obviously all the reminders, alerts, and all that self-check-in and check-out is all handled by the app. We've also created performance management apps. Everybody's dealt with the KPI at some point of their career, and we're able to go and create, to curate that process from the very beginning right the way to the end, from creating of the actual KPIs, assigning those KPIs and measures to the employees, and also the actual gathering of those. Another fairly common example of a Power App would be an expense claim. Everybody's had to deal with an expense claim, and they are actually quite useful to be able to capture all the relevant information. The automatic approvals and all of that stuff that happens in can all be automated. These are just some such examples that we are able to do and make certain processes easier by doing a Power App, for example. There's a lot of connectors, and I couldn't actually find an image that happened to have all of the connections or the connectors that we have available inside inside the Power Platform. Essentially, there's over 450 different custom connectors that are available. I'm sure some of you guys probably recognize some of the icons on there. But essentially is if you can think it, it probably will exist. If it doesn't exist, we can go and create that. We are able to go and create custom connectors that connect into web services or connect into the actual raw data. So as long as you're able to get some sort of, finger into the pie of whatever data source you are trying to gather, we'll be able to go and create a custom connector, and then you'll be able to go and make use of that. So how can Power Platform help you? So our quick wins, greater efficiency by automating our tasks and providing templates, productivity software that's going to help our users work far more quickly and efficiently. We have better accuracy, our automated features that help reduce errors and data entry and a whole bunch of other tasks. We get far better accuracy. Increased flexibility by providing a range of methods that we're able to go and view and manipulate that data, make it easier to find the relevant data when we need it, and we're able to tailor that to our or to your specific needs. Finally, we have improved collaboration. Essentially, if you're able to share information, you're able to go and share that information easily, get it to the right people at the right time. That is a monumentally good situation to be in. By us leveraging the power of the low-code development to create innovative solutions that will suit our client needs, as well as benefiting from the integration of existing Microsoft Cloud services, we will be able to go and transform your client's business processes and operations. So to help businesses do better, be better, and work better, we need to make better decisions quicker with all the detail that they need. So we need to measure the progress. With any project, it's always recommended to do some form of a retrospective. So you're going to compare the before and the after to see how far we have come. First of all, we can celebrate our wins, and we can see our improvements and see where we can create further improvements. So for example, how long did the old process take? Our time and cost savings. Have we reduced our the number of errors? Are we far more productive? We're also able to, for mitigating risk, We need to reduce our risk, improve our compliance, and maybe our turnaround times. One such example on risk reduction, we'll go on a quick little rabbit hole. We had a client, it was a mine in South Africa, and they have part of the safety environment that's there. They have inspectors that can come out at the moment's notice. The guys need to be able to produce certain safety certifications to say that they are currently in a state that's allowing the mine to be open. If, for instance, the office is unable to get the most recent or the current up-to-date certification, that mine inspector has the authority to shut the mine down. As you can imagine, if you shut a mine down, that costs millions upon millions, per hour or per, whatever their value may be. But by us having a very quick Power App that is able to go and surface these certifications up quickly and easily, that they don't have to go scratching around in a file system or an actual paper file-based place to go and find that out. By us having a simple app, this app probably would have taken 1-2 weeks worth of development tops, and its value is just gigantic. So that is a very good example of how we can reduce risk. With our business transformation, increasing our efficiency, employee productivity, employee satisfaction, is definitely that. And then there are also additional measures of business value, our time to market. Do we have a competitive example? And also our brand reputation. The brand reputation isn't just external. It's not just all about what the outside people think of you. It's also about internal. If we give our staff and our people innovative ways of doing things, we give them the information they need when they need it, they would also be like, I am proud to be working for this company. So it definitely helps. Before we jump into our Q&A, we just have a quick little tag cloud that's of just a couple of sample ideas. These are some of the projects that we have implemented in the last 6 to 8 months within Mint. And there are a number of items, hopefully something when they may pique your interest. And yeah, they're essentially, I think it's safe to say the world is your oyster. If you're able to imagine it, it more than likely can be done. So thank you very much for that. So if there are any questions, Claire, I can't see the questions on my side. If there are any questions, please let me know and do my best to answer it. If we can't answer it, we will definitely take your details and get back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Andrew. We just have one question so far. Perfect. And it says, it's from Mareka, and it says, why did Microsoft decide to only make Power Apps available on work accounts and not personal accounts?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Microsoft has a really complex licensing structure. And coincidentally, we actually have a webinar Wednesday about demystifying licenses, which will actually be quite useful for you. So stick around for that. But I think it's got to do with, if it was done on a personal perspective, it would have to be a paid for thing. And I just don't think that there is, I don't know, it'd be difficult to go and say. I think that there might not be the appetite sufficient for that to make financial sense for them, or make financial sense for the end users. So I'm not sure how much they would charge for that, but yeah, it would actually be very nice to be able to have that on a personal perspective. But yeah, cool. If there are no other questions, if you are interested in getting a bit of a head start, if you can scan that QR code, we can get one of our solutions experts to get in contact with you. We can answer any questions or just advise you on how we can help you with Power Platform. And I'll leave the screen up a little bit just so people can grab that. Claire, if you could also drop that link into the chat, just in case, for whatever reason, your phone is not decoding that QR code.
Andrew, we have one more question.
Yeah.
It's just come in. It's from Nick. And he's asking, how do you mitigate for Microsoft backend changes that affect the functioning of Power Automate flows? For example, clients rely on the accurate execution of business processes.
100%. Yes. I definitely feel your pain on that one. There have been a couple of situations where we've also been in where something has gone and changed. Essentially, the best way around that is to subscribe to the Microsoft. I forget the channel name on Twitter, or now X. But when they do make certain changes and whatnot, if they're going to be significant changes, they will go and do some sort of notice around that, and we would be able to go and see what is potentially going to be affected. There have been a couple of occasions where I myself have been bitten by Microsoft went and changed something. I can't remember the specifics. This was a while ago. And yes, there was a little bit of a mad scramble on the day. But essentially, we logged a support ticket with Microsoft, and then they were able to assist us. But because it is a shared platform, there are certain risks that we do kind of take on. But generally speaking, they don't happen that often. Like I said, I was like trying to struggle to think of like, what that was and when it happened. And this was a fair while ago. It isn't something that happens too often. At least from a Power Apps perspective, the Power Apps are published at a specific version, and they will stay at that version up until they are republished. With flows, it's a little bit more complicated around that. But yeah, that is a very good question.
Thanks, Andrew. One more.
Yes.
The questions are starting to stream in.
Yes,
this is
bring them.
Chris. Chris is asking, where would you recommend starting the learning journey for the whole Microsoft ecosystem? Would you start with Azure? It's hard to understand how all these apps and systems hang together.
Absolutely. The best resource, learn.microsoft.com. There is a mountain of resources out there. There's also YouTube is your friend as well. There is the Microsoft Mechanics. There's Microsoft. Oh, you see now my brain's on the put on the spot. I can't remember the exact channel names, but there are a number of Microsoft curated and produced videos and training information items on YouTube there. There's also a lot of other MVPs that go out and create their own content on there. As far as choosing which area, I guess it will just depend on, what catches your fancy. If you are more of an infrastructure person, then the Azure side would probably work quite well. If you are more of an automation type of, so automation interests you more, then I'll definitely go start looking at our workflows. It just depends on where your interest is. And one of the things that I would probably safely say is that there is so much information in Microsoft. I've been doing Microsoft stuff for like almost 20 years. I still don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything, but yeah, pick something that you find interesting and run with that.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. One more from Anthony. Is there an efficient way to capture and upload large amounts of images via a Power App?
I guess it would depend where are these images? Are you going to be taking photos of them? Because then a Power App would work quite well because you've got the built-in functionality of the camera, and then you create a flow that handles that and then drops it into whatever data system that you're putting into SharePoint, Azure, SQL, whatever. If it is a repository of images, I would definitely look at Flow. Or potentially looking at Logic apps if it's going to be really, like there's mountains and mountains of volume. There could be a number of different ways around that. It all depends on volume and size. We may also be an idea to look at custom, depending on how big it is, because Flow can totally do it, 100%. We'll be able to point it at something, get a listing of files, read out the data, without getting into solutioning this particular thing. There's a lot of options around that.
Great. Thanks, Andrew.
Fantastic.
There are no other questions.
Cool. Well, just a quick thing on this last slide. As one does on Valentine's Day, the best thing you can give your partner is a invite to Demystifying Microsoft Licensing, a comprehensive guide. Look, obviously tongue in cheek on that one, but as you all know, licensing can be quite a complex beast. I think this particular session will be very, very useful and beneficial to join in. If there are no further questions, guys, really appreciate the time taken to sit and have a chat with us. And if there's anything you guys would need or like from us, hit that form and fill it in, and we will get in contact with you. And thank you very much. Appreciate it.